Mod RC back with the Ford Ranger project. So last week I had some time to work on this thing. The main goal was to get this rear end disassembled, cleaned up, lubricated, and back together. Didn't really work out, so I was fooling around with it, and I was like, you know what, it feels a little gritty as far as the front suspension. And so I was like, let me take that back apart to see what's going on. So the upper and lower control arms pivot on a shaft that runs through the upper and lower aluminum tube here. So I had to take that apart. It wasn't a huge project. I just cleaned it up with some alcohol, and then I re-greased it and then put everything back together. So it did smooth it out a little bit for me, which is good. So I did that, and then I moved on to the rear end and ran into some problems. So the way it is, you got a clear plastic inspection cover on the motor side. And you got the same thing on the side of the spur and the pinion. I was able to get this plastic cover off, but I couldn't get the motor side, and I could not get the aluminum case in half either. I'm not really sure why. It's a little confusing in the instructions. I don't have them handy, but they basically color code things. So on the page showing the assembly of this rear portion, it shows silicone adhesive, and it looks like that was definitely used for this plastic cover because it's around the perimeter, and you can see it right there, and it's flexible. And it's the same way here. It's it's pressed out and it's flexible. But I'm not sure. I mean, I never had issues getting stuff that's sealed with silicone apart before. But I don't want to put too much force to it and break, whatever this is, 40-year-old plastic. So I was like, let me just leave well enough alone. I'm not going to worry about that unless the motor doesn't work. So then I was like, well, let me see if I can get the aluminum halves apart. I couldn't do that either. And then looking at the instructions on this, again, on the same page where it's talking about the assembly, they're also talking about an adhesive, and they color code it. So one of them, the silicone, I forget which way they do it, but one of them's like a light blue, the one of them a dark blue, and they basically just have that color code like where you're using it. The problem is there's not a whole lot of difference in shade, so it's hard to tell, did they call for an adhesive or did they call for the silicone? To me, it would make sense just to use the silicone on all 3 points. But I'm guessing that that is not the case, that the aluminum was probably glued together, unfortunately. I don't see any silicone that I remember that's squeezed out. Actually, you know what? I take that back. There might be some right down there. Yeah, I'm not sure. It looks like maybe there is some squeezed out in portions, unless that was, I don't know how else that would really get down there, honestly. But for whatever reason, I couldn't get a part, so I was like, you know what, everything spins freely. I'm going to leave well enough alone, and then see how it runs. So I cleaned up what I could, just brushed it off, got the loose dirt off with a toothbrush as best I could. I checked the grease on this side. It's still, I guess, some type of moly grease. It's still good. It wasn't all dried out, so I just kind of took what flung off on the inside of the cover and put it back on the pinion and the ring, and then moved on. Got the torsion bar suspension for the rear taken care of. I don't know how well it'll come through in the camera. So it's the silver steel bar that runs between the plastic tray and the fiberglass. And you can kind of see it stops right there, curls in. So on this end, it goes through a brass bushing that's like basically the lower control arm bushing. And it's the rod. It's hooked on the back, so it hooks into the control arm. Again, it's probably kind of hard to see, but it curls up, hooks right in there. And then again, the bar runs down the length of the fiberglass and then curves in, and then it's probably not gonna be able to see it through the plastic, but this is raised here, and the two torsion bars meet each other and are connected by a brass tube. So it works out. Probably not maybe the greatest setup, but it's smooth and it works. So we'll see how it is. And then I had planned to work on the shocks then, and then realized I got an issue with the shocks. I didn't have a good weekend last week as far as working on this thing. So I thought I had all complete shocks. I don't. I have complete shocks for the front. I only have one shock that for the rear that's complete, and then the other part's just the like the shock body. I'm missing everything else with it, like one end and then the guts of it. So instead of trying to buy used ones on eBay, I figured, you know what, let me just see if I can find something on Amazon. And lo and behold, came across these. And there was, I think, some others too in various colors. I went with like a titanium gray color. 59 millimeter hole to hole. They basically almost look exactly the same as the original ones that were on here. So these will fit perfectly on the rear. I haven't even taken them out of the package yet. The only thing I'm not sure about is the diameter of the bushing back here, if it's going to be quite big enough for the studs. But I'll get them to work. I'm not worried about it. I'll figure it out if I have to drill that out a little bit, or if I can see if I can move to a smaller bolt back here, I'll take care of it. And then in the front, I'm just going to use what I have here. At least that's the plan. And then I'll try different combinations of using this spring, not using this spring. And then the factory springs actually have 2 tension pins, I guess adjustment pins. So right now it's on the low, or it's on the upper pin, which is the lowest tension. Then if you have to take the shock off, but if you fold this piece of spring back, there's another pin there, and it increases tension on it. So like I said, I'll get the shocks rebuilt and try different combinations and then see what I like the best. And then as far as oil goes, again from Amazon, I ordered some Team Losi. And this is 40 weight. I wasn't sure what weight to go with. I figured, 40, maybe that's a safe bet. Kind of in the middle, not too, won't make them too stiff and not too soft. So we'll give that a shot and see how it does. And then the electronics will be an easy mount, so that won't take very long at all. And then the last thing will just be the new wheels and tires. And the weather's finally breaking, so I can get out and hopefully get the new wheels painted. I think I'll just do silver, and then get the tires mounted on them once they dry. But while I'm dealing with, I'll try to do that while I'm working on this also. And then if I don't get the wheels and tires done, I have the original ones here. I can throw those on and just go for a rip and see how it does. But yeah, I'm hoping I can get this done soon here. I was hoping to have it done already, but it is what it is. Just have a lot going on, unfortunately, like everybody else, and this is just kind of squeeze this in when I can. So I'm excited. I haven't, like I said, this thing hasn't probably been ran in over 30 years, probably over 33 years. So I'm excited to get it back. Again, keeping my fingers crossed that everything does work, and just kind of get it back on the road and see what it's like.